Roll it. Episode 25.
Episode 25. Welcome back to the Volly House Podcast. We are at Colca Studios. So if you need a firehouse built, give them a call. Also, download the Firewire app available on iOS and Android. Go to thevolleyhousepodcast.com to ask us questions or send in stories or videos you'd like us to review. And also give us a follow on all social media platforms at Volly House Podcast. We'll start with iCommand Board for our first read. Just me and Kev today. Every video we see from a career department incident shows an incident command board on scene. Yet in many NIOSH LODD reports, a recurring finding is the lack of proper incident command. As a chief in the volunteer fire service, your responsibility is to ensure the safety of everyone operating at every incident. Gone are the days of managing this in your head or on a simple whiteboard. The owner of iCommand Board, a volunteer fire chief, took this challenge head-on by developing a professional tool tailored for volunteer fire officers. These command boards are designed with size, affordability, and most importantly, accountability at the forefront. Packed with critical information and checklists, they're built to help you stay organized and focused at every event. Visit iCommandBoard.com today and take the next step in ensuring the safety and success of your department. This episode is also brought to you by Red Alert. Do you hear that little British accent I just had?
A little British.
Brought to you by.
Brought to you, boy.
If you've listened to this podcast long enough or been in the fire service long enough, you probably know that 10 different fire departments will do the same thing in 10 different ways. Every department is different. Whether it's scheduling permits, reporting, points tracking, inventory, or truck checks, chances are high that your department does it differently from the one down the street. Hopefully, you're managing most of this with software. Is your software vendor putting you into their box? When you ask for a small change to your system, do they just add it to the list or do they get it done? Maybe you bought another piece of software just to get scheduling right. Next thing you know, you have 5 different vendors to manage your firehouse just because your original vendor couldn't make a small change. Alpine Software's Red NMX is the all-in-one fire software that fits the needs of your department. Their average customer has been with them for 19 years. Why? They have dedicated people to set up your system, convert your data, and get you trained. They have a US-based call and email support staff. If you're tired of, we'll add it to the list. Join the hundreds of other departments that have switched to Alpine Software. All right.
It's quiet in here without Phil.
Yeah, right? It's felt like quiet the whole time we've been here. I feel like something's off. I don't know.
I think it's the heat. The heat's getting to you.
It might be. It's been crazy hot.
Drank a lot of water today.
Yeah.
Sweating it out.
Oh yeah. I got my Trumbull, Connecticut 100th anniversary. Yeah, it's my sister-in-law is from Trumbull, and her and my brother got this for me. I didn't know they were volleys up there.
Volleys everywhere.
Everywhere, baby.
Everywhere.
So shout out to those guys.
We got a lot of anniversaries coming up, I think, right? What do we have? Sound Beach has their 95th. Somebody else I just saw. Oh my God, why am I losing it now? I just had it in my head.
He's getting to you.
No, I'm just old. I can't remember shit anymore. Somebody else just they have the 100th coming up too this year. So yeah, if you guys you have an anniversary, stuff like that, send it to us. We'll bring it up on the show. Let people know. I know Sound Beach is having a little parade and everything for their 95th. And I forget, where's the other one? Jesus, somebody's got.
Is it out by you?
Yeah, it's out east somewhere. God, I can't remember. Yeah,
it'll come to me while I'm shutting down for a whole day.
Shut down.
I remember. I think it was.
Probably. I don't know. They'll probably get standby crews.
I think it was Kings Park years ago. I want to say it was their 100th anniversary, but they shut down the whole day. They had. I think it was for a full 24 hours. They had standby.
Oh, wow. 24 hours is a long time.
Yeah, because they had a huge barbecue, I think at Callahan Beach, stuff like that. But
yeah, we did ours was in 2009, so yeah, 2009. We had a big carnival parade, everything going on, so the whole day was crazy.
Yeah, I mean you
had
have
the county command center there, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, you have to. You got to go all out for 100 years of service to the community.
It's a long time.
It is a long time, and did we talk about this last episode? Maybe the oldest fire district. Here is it.
I don't know, some pretty old ones.
Is it?
I mean, obviously, the city had some really old volunteer companies, talking to him last week. But, I mean, Sag Harbor's been around
I was just going to say, I think
time.
Sag Harbor's got the oldest fire department.
Sag Harbor. Yeah,
I could be wrong. Somebody will correct us in the comments.
Oh, I'm sure. Somebody always does.
Yeah, somebody.
I love the keyboard whizzes. I mean, if it's good information.
I got to post that picture. I saw it on the internet. I sent it to you guys, but it was like the keyboard chiefs or something like that. It's like a patch. I gotta post that on our things. We're getting a lot of keyboard chiefs lately.
Yeah. Well, some of it's very good. I mean, others, people make comments to comment.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's good that when a clip goes out there like that and people start talking about it. Like I like that it opens their minds, which is really cool.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see.
But I've had a few people like, you want me to bash that guy? I'm like, just leave it alone.
Yeah,
just let it go, But, there's good information being shared. I've been getting a lot of side messages and DMs and stuff from people. Somebody recently, again, said, you guys on Long Island are really missing the boat on live-ins and bunking programs. The last guy was from PA. There's another guy from Maryland. I had a guy from upstate New York. They're like, you guys are missing the boat. And then, it'd be interesting to see, like, we got to get somebody in from Westchester. I know a bunch of people up there, too. But, because there's a lot of, there's paid entity there, there's combination departments, there's all volunteer. Like, it's very interesting that that's so close to the city that has evolved more than we have in Nassau and Suffolk in regards to having people on duty.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the same kind of type of area.
Yeah.
So, we should definitely get some more information on that.
No, well, anything to help. But, like I said, I think live-ins do help. I think, getting out the door as fast as you can, whether you're paid, volunteer, I don't really care. But getting out the door fast, is important.
Well, it's funny you say that because I have a submission for suspended or not.
Okay.
And I forgot to grab my glasses. I see you have yours.
Would they roll with one guy?
No, so
I'll put my glasses.
Yeah, put your glasses on. Use VHP 15 frontlineoptics.com. VHP 15 for 15% off your order.
You need this with all the sun around here.
So you have a crew in quarters. The men wanted lunch and took the rig a few blocks out of district to pick up food. We get alerted for an automatic alarm and we were first due. Ended up being a job, kitchen fire. The captain of the company got suspended by the chief of department for not getting permission to take the rig out of town. The captain wasn't there at the time of the incident.
So, crew in quarters, captain's not there.
Captain's not there.
The crew takes the rig, goes get food, comes back.
Or while they were getting the food.
And then the captain got it.
Captain got a suspension.
What about the guys on the rig?
Doesn't look like it.
Oh, so... it depends on the rules of your department. If that is your policy that you don't leave the district without approval, then they're in violation of a policy. And then it comes down to how the department is set up. So, there are certain times and places where the captain is ultimately responsible for the crew at all costs, whether they're on duty, not on duty, even in the paid services like that. New York City's like that. If something happens in your firehouse, you could be on vacation as the captain, you're still getting a hit. So it really just depends on how that department makeup is. I don't have a problem with leaving the district to go a couple blocks to get food. I don't see
Let
the
me
big
ask you this
deal.
though,
But there are a lot of departments have very, very strict policies about leaving the district. Some have policies where the actual fire district or the board has to approve any vehicles leaving the district unless it's on a response or for training or for funerals. So everybody's got different policies.
So I know anytime we left the district, we would just radio to dispatch, just, hey, we're out, going to be out of district, blah, 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 and you just let them know when you're back in.
Right.
This particular incident here, these guys went and got food. Mm-hmm. They're coming back, and they said they only went a few blocks outside of their district.
Well, is it really a few blocks? I don't know.
They said four or five blocks out of their district to get food. Mm-hmm. They're coming back, taking a run, automatic alarm. They had a full crew.
And get their first due.
They get their first due. It winds up being a kitchen fire. Mm-hmm. And they knock it.
It's awesome.
It's great.
I love it. Quick response is the best response.
So what I'm saying is, as a chief of department, can't let that one slide. Hey, you guys got there real quick. I know you guys.
Like I said, you don't know where it could be coming from higher up, like a board or trustees, or
I just feel like that's such a dumb thing.
It is, but I understand. What if they got blocked in? What if they were out of district, couldn't get back?
Right, but
what
at
if
that
they got
point,
in an accident outside the district?
I get that.
So there are a lot of factors, and granted, I agree. I don't think it's a big deal, but if that's the rules or the policy.
I understand that totally.
Yeah.
But to your point, we were saying, what if they got into an accident or whatever? I think at that point, yeah, I'd be like, what were you guys doing outside of district? That's against policy. This particular incident, you guys got on scene fast, put the fire out. It was a kitchen fire. I think I'd probably let that one slide. Yeah, like what the fuck? Like at that point, what are you doing? And it's the captain gets in trouble for it.
Right.
I think I don't know. I don't think that should be a suspension right there. I think that one's like, hey, look, we have a policy about this, but pat on the back.
Slap on the wrist.
Yeah, pat on the back to you guys.
Don't do it again.
For getting, yeah, but it just, that right there, that whole scenario, I think is some of the stuff that ruins the fire service.
Well, it turns people off, and you do a good job, and you still get beat up for it, and people that are more active, people that do more, people that take that little bit of risk are usually the ones that are going to get in trouble anyway. It's just nature of the beast. So, yes, I can understand that. But like I said,
usually you have rules in place for when shit goes bad.
It could have, like I said, it could have been coming from somebody else.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
So,
it's like,
but I agree. Like we allow, people, like, to tell you the truth, sometimes you got to transverse other districts to get to your district, depending on where it is. Like there's an area 347, we go down, we actually go into Terryville's district to come back into our own, and you're right on the border. Like some of the stations are right on the border.
Right.
So, but you just got to be careful.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say no suspension on that. Yeah. I think that's a.
But on the other side of it, does it hurt to make a phone call and say, "Hey, listen, we want to go get White Castle. It's it's a mile out of the district."
I get that, but I'm thinking of like the district lines that, like, I'm familiar with.
Yep.
Where it's across the street. Well, is a pizza place.
There are some people that don't even know what their district boundaries are.
There's that.
That's a whole nother problem.
But I'm just saying, like, we used to take the district van on Sunday mornings and go out by you to Seaport Deli.
To a good deli.
Yep. Seaport Deli, we'd get big sandwiches, but it was a couple of guys. We used to go in the district van. It was like our thing. Granted, no one really cared. Mm-hmm. Like, the Chiefs were, I don't even know if we told anybody really, but like, it was never an issue, It was just something like, the guys want to get
van's
together.
Also a little different than a response vehicle, like,
Right, but at the same time, we would also do, say, after a drill night, we would stop at Carvel or Ralph's,
stop at
which is outside the district.
Mm-hmm. On the way back.
Mm-hmm. So it just, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. I think
taking
whoever
some jobs in somebody else's district on the way back from Yacht Bank.
Well.
I always got the radio going.
Oh, yeah, I bet you would, yeah. But this being, you have a crew in quarters. The guys are hanging out. You have the guys hanging out down there. Hey, let's go get food. Take the truck out there, building that camaraderie. Yeah. And then you take a run into your own district, and it winds up being more than what it is. And you do the job you're supposed to do. And the captain gets suspended by the chief department. I think that's insane.
There might be more to the story, too.
Could be. There's always potentially more to the story, but I don't know. I think that's a bad decision.
A warning in previously, who knows? Like I said, I hate to suspend people and lose people. And I wasn't always this way, but, I see the differences now, after many, many years.
Oh, I'm sure.
But there are some times where you tell the same people over and over again not to do things, and
I get that.
They push it to the friggin' limit, and they go over that line like they want to test you to see what they can do.
Right.
And that's never good either.
All right, well, I'm saying no suspension on that one. That's my take.
I think I would have went after the guys on the crew first before the captain, though.
Yeah, probably.
But like I said, there might be a lot more to it. Who knows? But
So job of the week, I got 2 of them.
there haven't been too many fires.
Well, this is the first one is the hazmat in Mineola. So elevated levels of CO2, and firefighters were affected, and it wound up becoming a mass casualty
MCI.
incident. And
I think they called the city MERV originally.
yeah, I think they turned them around. We did talk about that with, I want to say, Bobby Salveson, or maybe it was just you and I had the conversation about the CO2 coming in and depleting the oxygen.
Yep.
So
Yeah, we were talking about that when we were discussing the meters.
yeah. So it seems like that there was, I don't know all the ins and outs of this incident, but it seems like that could have been the
Was CO2
situation.
not CO? It's carbon dioxide.
Yeah, that's what I got from the.
It's out there,
chats.
everyone. If you see your meters going down, oxygen depletion, it's probably CO2, liquid CO2.
Again, that's what I saw on the group chats. So if that's not correct, that's what happened. Then feel free to scream at us in the comment section. But
Scream, be nice.
yeah, so I would say that's one of them. Just be aware of your surroundings, especially going to a hazmat. And then the second one,
Sometimes you don't know if it's a hazmat. That's the thing, especially something like that. People just sick, and now what? Oh shit.
right? Well, it's funny because if you get a call where they're reporting multiple people feeling sick, your brain's going to start going.
Oh, I hope so.
And you're immediately going to think, okay, some sort of hazmat right off the bat.
Right.
But then if you look at over by your area, I think it was Stony Brook, they had multiple patients getting sick at a restaurant.
Yep.
And got there, and it wound up just being the food.
Yep.
That was all fucked up,
Yeah,
and
the
people
rice
were throwing
was
up
the
and shit like that.
It's right by my house.
Yeah, so it's you could definitely get those like different scenarios
Absolutely.
that happen.
It could always happen.
Then the second job of the week, that nursing home fire in Massachusetts. I think they had 9 fatalities.
9 people died, 30 people were injured, transported, including some firefighters, I believe.
What were the conditions of the firefighters?
I didn't read the whole thing, but I sent out a little clip of the article to my department in Group Me. We have 4 assisted living / nursing homes in our district that we respond to on a regular basis. A lot of EMS, of course, but we do get the automatic alarms and the odors and stuff like that, and sometimes it's cooking or burnt toast or whatever. You can't let your guard down in these buildings. Smoke travels very quickly. You think it's a sprinklered building, everything's fine. Sprinklers are just meant to hold the fire and contain it from getting larger. That's the goal and purpose. If it puts it out, that's great, but for the most part, try to hold it back. And sometimes it does get ahead of itself, or it overwhelms the sprinkler system. Or the sprinkler system's broken, it's being worked on, turned off, whatever. But you're dealing with a lot of people. Anytime you're in a big building, commercial, resident, commercial and, nursing homes, hospitals, stuff like that, you can be dealing with a lot of stuff. And this isn't the first time something like this has happened, whether it's a college campus or something like this. But you can't let your guard down. It could be something serious, and if we're going to be doing rescues, you're going to be doing a lot of rescues, especially if there's some non-ambulatory people in there. That's a whole nother problem.
Yeah, I was just going to say that because there's that one nursing home that you and I both know very well that has a lot of different units in there where there's people who aren't ambulatory. There's also bariatric patients in there.
Less of that now, but yes.
Yeah, but there
yes, I know
still is, and it's
absolutely. And the thing is, the staff is trained to react and do certain things. Try to put the fire out, try to contain the fire, try to move the residents, or move the residents from one area to another part of the building and stuff like that. But it takes a lot. And if you have a building that has 80 or 100 beds or 300 beds, that's a lot of people. And yes, there's smoke doors, and we're guilty of it too as firefighters, and whether it's volunteer paid, of opening smoke doors and chocking them open because we're going and making access and stuff like that. Those are meant for a reason, right? A lot of those are on magnets. They're supposed to close when the fire alarm goes off. It's supposed to contain the fire and smoke from traveling to one part of the building to the other. They have, smoke ejectors or ventilation in the stairwells, in certain stairwells. There's so many things that are built into the structure to try to help protect the residents. And sometimes we're guilty of opening up one of these doors or chocking it or making access, and you don't want to get stuck. I get it, but it could cause more of a problem in the building. So you have to be aware of stuff like that.
There's also that situation too, and we discussed this at the fire department when it comes to, say, like bariatric patients, stuff like that, where it's not just an easy, hey, you grab one side, I grab the other, and we pull this person out. I mean, some of these patients are north of 500 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole thing is, if you can get them isolated, until we can
close the door, open a window,
until we can mend the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But depending from, I think this went to 5 alarms, right? This particular one in Massachusetts. So, it's definitely. I don't know how many people were rescued. Did you catch that at all?
I just saw 30 injured and 9 dead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people were in that nursing home, but it's a hell of a rescue operation there, getting in there. 4 or 5 alarm fire.
The thing is, you have one here, and then you have nothing for years, and then all of a sudden there's another one, and then there's another one, and it's like, oh, it'll never happen again, or it's not going to happen in my district, or this. We always want to think that it's not enough, and of course there's a lot of other stuff coming out now about staffing and manpower, and the mayor saying he gives everything that the fire chief needs, and it's up to the fire chief, and the union's claiming that they've asked for more personnel, but they're not getting it. Listen, whatever the deal is, but the truth of the matter is we always scale things back because we say, oh, there's no fires anymore, or nothing's going to happen. And then you have an event like this where you're pulling out 30, 40, 50 people. You don't have the manpower for that. And you can call for mutual aid, reflex time, all this. You need people, and then we lost Jared Lloyd upstate, or what was that, Orange County, Rockland County, I forget what it was, a few years back. There was a Jewish nursing home or whatever it was.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was another big building. Volunteers respond to it. But sometimes you're behind the 8 ball when you have these fires and in these bigger buildings, and now you're chasing it, and you're trying to get lines in place and everything else, and
also,
I hate to say what if all the time, but it's going to happen again.
Especially districts that have buildings that are grandfathered in.
Yes,
because there are certain
parameters
for sure, but. Take a look around your district, especially if it's like a historic district or something like that. You might not have the sprinkler heads. You might not have the automatic closing doors or the fire stops.
Right.
So, it's just one of those things where it's, okay, yeah, we're used to all this new construction going up, but you get a fire in a building that's not, that was built prior to all these preventative measures, you're going to run into some problems.
And not only that, I mean, you look at America in general. We build a lot with wood. We build a lot with combustible materials. And, not everywhere is like this. If we were building homes out of, block and stucco and, tile roofs and stuff like that, your chances of, a forest fire affecting that building is a lot less, or if you keep the shrubbery, or, if you take these wildfire class, they talk all about it, like 30-foot radius around the house, nothing combustible and all. But, you look at the fire that they had in Hawaii, you look at these fires they've been having in California, and if you ask some of these experts and people, I saw a clip just recently again of somebody saying it. He goes, if we continue to do things the way we've always done it, we will continue to have the same results. You keep building wood houses in the middle of a forest, they're going to burn eventually.
Right.
I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. Maybe it's time to start building out of concrete. Maybe it's time to put sprinklers in all residential buildings, and it's not like, we're going to end the fire service. There'll always be fires. There'll always be emergencies. There's always going to be somebody who needs our help. But the reality is, when are we going to get to the point? If you had this many fires in cars, they would have recalled it by now. If you would have had this many deaths in cars, they would have recalled it by now.
I just think, obviously everything comes down to money, and
it always does. But it's not that much.
But also looking at the, if you just look at say how many houses there are across the country and how many of them burn, that percentage is very low.
Yes.
So that's, I think, what they're looking at, and whatever they're gonna do to make things easier to build and stuff like that. And the fire department, they'll figure it out. They'll figure out how. We talk about this all the time. The different things that keep popping up, lithium-ion batteries. That's the new thing. The fire departments will figure it out.
Well, everything is our fault. We got to figure it out.
Yeah.
But, but reality is going to come and set in at some point. A lot of homes in Florida build out of block,
right?
Tile roofs. They do it down there, and they manage to do it. We can't do that up here or in the forest, in the woods. I don't know. But we have to be on our game. We have to have a quick response. Fires, like we've talked about, they flash a lot quicker. They burn a lot faster. They burn a lot hotter. It's the plastics and everything else that are in these buildings. So, unfortunately, the volunteer fire service has not evolved to that point to speeding up our response. We still do the same old thing. And, the 70s, the legacy fires, took 29 minutes to get the flash over. Think about that. Now you got 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And lithium ion, some are under a minute. And we're going to still wait for the phone call to come in for us to respond from home, to get to the firehouse, to get on a truck, to respond halfway across the district to get there. Even your best response from call taking to getting on scene is got to be at least 5-6 minutes easy, and that's next to the firehouse.
Right.
And that's a good, tight department at best. Most departments are going to be 9, 10, or more.
Right.
So, quicker response, quicker water gets on the fire, quicker we catch the fire in more of an incipient stage, the quicker the fire will not burn. So
what do you got going on for drill this week? Speaking of all that.
Well, getting back to jobs, there weren't many jobs, but we were talking about that. Beth Page had a job.
No, I'm talking about drills.
I know that, but I'm just saying Beth Page had a job the other day.
Oh.
And that's like bedrock over there. They don't get a lot of fires. And they've actually had a few this year, which is crazy. But they had I believe it was bedroom fire, blowing out a couple windows on the first floor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple days ago. And then Patrick had something in an apartment complex,
I
or
saw
condo
that today,
complex
yeah.
today. And then we just had actually it was a plastic box in a clutter-conditioned house up against the heater. I don't know why the electric heater was on the second floor. But luckily it wasn't 2 a.m. because that thing would have been ripping between the mattresses and furniture and stuff that was stacked with boxes of papers and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
That thing would have been ripping. So, quick response found the issue quick enough that it didn't turn into anything big. But drill, I have a drill coming up. I don't want to talk too much about it because I want to wait till the guys see it.
Well, when are they going to do
first,
it?
But next week. So we can talk about it next week.
Okay.
But I have a pretty cool concept of something coming up. But I know guys are listening, so they're going to be like, oh, that's what it is?
I'm not going.
Yeah.
What can you say, what it is?
No.
Not
No,
what it
I'm
is
not
specific-
saying what it is.
No, just a hint.
No.
No?
No hints.
Okay, what did you guys do last week?
We didn't do anything last week. The companies had drill last week. So let's see. My company, what did we do? We did master streams. We were working on deck gun, pumping, and just going over
Qualifying guys?
different tips. Not really qualifying, but there was a guy training a little bit. But we were going over distances and reach and gallons per minute and stuff like that. So, yeah, talked a little bit about the hydrant. We need a new hydrant behind our firehouse.
Oh, for training?
It looks like the whole spot is going to come out soon.
Oh, yeah.
These things happen. It could see a lot of use behind a firehouse, of course.
Call the water authority.
Yeah. Well, we pay them for these hydrants, so come fix it. Come replace it. But, next week we can talk about the drill a little bit. But
So one thing I wanted to bring up, just because this seems to be happening with this crazy type of weather we're getting, but the flash flooding scenarios. So we've seen it in Texas, seen it in New Mexico, Jersey,
Carolinas.
Carolinas,
Jersey got hit.
So
yesterday, New York City got hit pretty hard too.
Yeah, New York City, the subways were all flooded and stuff like that.
It all kind of went north of us. I mean, we got rain. Yeah. We got some lightning and rain.
Well, even today. So I was driving earlier, and I'm on the Northern State Parkway, and it was just one cloud. Like, I drove through a storm, but torrential rain
like
for
Florida.
Maybe 20 seconds, and you could see it on the roads puddling up. So I think that we, for the most part, are in a good spot with departments that have high water rescue trucks, have Zodiacs and stuff like that. But for departments that are getting hit with these types of storms that might be more inland, that don't have access to these types of rescue units, where do you go from there?
Well, I think a lot of them are starting to get more and more involved with water rescue. I mentioned this during Devonsky about, firefighters getting killed or overextending themselves into water conditions. Water is very dangerous. It's super dynamic. I mean, a 6-knot current up to your knees will take you down and you're gone. And we think we know what we're doing. We think we can handle the situation. We can't always. You really need to take a swift water rescue class. You should take surface water rescue, you should take ice rescue, and you should take swift water rescue if you're going to be involved in any of these flash floods. Like I said, a 6-knot current. For example, in swift water, we wear a specific type of life jacket. Okay, it's a special vest, type 3. I believe it's type 3 or type 5. I think it is. But it's got a ring on the back where you attach a rope to, so that you can go out and swim and they can pull you in. The thing is that if you're attached to a rope in water, you cannot be locked into it, because if things go wrong, you're going underwater. The rope will drag you under the water. So with these vests, these Type 5 vests, it actually has a ball in the front that you can pull and pop it, and it will release that ring off the back and take you off that tether line so that you can float downstream. All right, and it's important because people think, if I'm attached to a rope, they can just pull me and everything. If the current is high enough, it will push you right down underneath the water and you will drown.
Makes sense.
And that's what some firefighters don't understand. They're like, let me put a bowline or a bite around me, or I can go out there in my bunker gear. No, you should not be doing that. You are going to get yourself in trouble. And you might not even think it's really that bad at the time. It's only knee deep or whatever. That water can change so fast. It can come up so high. And if you've seen some of these videos in Texas and Carolina, how fast the rivers came up.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. I think most people, you think of a flash flood, it's like, okay, the streets are going to get the flooding on the sides, or just water level, are going to raise, like, if there's, say, a sump or something like that. People think of that type of flooding.
Right.
But there was one video, actually it was two videos, you just mentioned, the one in Texas where the guy literally filmed I watched the entire 30 minutes of it. Like, I took my finger on the video, went from the beginning and just slowly scrolled to the end, and you just watch. It was like a forest that just disappeared.
It's insane.
And how fast it is. And then the other one was the video of I want to say this was New Mexico. It was the video of that fucking house. It was an entire house.
Yep,
but
floated.
the speed that this thing was coming through a street, a full house, coming.
Now think if you have a rope going across there and that comes along and hits it.
Yeah.
You're
See
dead.
you later. And then the ones from Jersey yesterday.
Yep.
The cars. I mean, what do you need? Is it 3 feet of water?
2 feet will make it float.
Yeah. And just look at the videos in Jersey yesterday of the cars that were. They just come up and they just start going, and they're not going down straight. They're following the same path. They're going to slam into each other. So,
it's a very tricky situation, and I've taken a lot of water rescue classes. I'm an instructor for surface water, ice rescue, swift water, the whole 9 yards, and I've taken rescue boat operated classes and everything else, and it's really, and I'm not the best swimmer in the world, I'm a diver too, rescue diver, the whole 9 yards. Water can kill you very quickly, and you don't realize it, and you might think you're in a good spot and it's not that bad. A tree comes downstream and hits you, or something under the water, you're going down. Dislodged manholes, people walking in the street in bunker gear, and all of a sudden, bloop, guy goes right down into the manhole.
Yeah.
You don't even know that the cap dislodged. So it's extremely dangerous when you're dealing with water. So I do recommend that you do take a water rescue class and understand water and stuff like that. But it can hurt you and kill you very, very fast. So you have to be prepared. So we took a class, we took rescue boat operator, FDNY sent a bunch of guys down to Carolinas. And it's a river, small river, but Duke Energy runs the dam. It's their electric company. So they're like, they're going to release the dam. They're going to give us a dam release so we can do all this stuff. So we set up all this stuff on the river. And the guy goes, tie the boat up here. Like, it's literally like 20 feet up on the bank of the river. And I go, but the water's all the way down there. He goes, the water's coming up here. And I was like, no way, right? They opened that dam up. Within 10 minutes, the water was up like 25 feet in the air. I was like, holy moly. Like, so think about something gets jammed up. Like, even, let's say it's a flash flood, right? So all of a sudden the water's flowing, it's fast, you're trying to make a grab and somebody's stuck in a car, all right? All of a sudden the water starts slowing down a little bit, probably because maybe, debris got stuck in a drain or up against a bridge, okay? And it, even if you have big tubes underneath the bridge and stuff, it can jam up very quickly. And now that bridge turns into a dam, okay? So now it's like, you're like, oh, it's not that bad. Let me get this person out, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden that bridge lets go, or that debris lets go, and now you have a massive flow of water with debris coming at you.
It becomes like a horizontal drain.
Whatever. But all of a sudden you think you're okay, and I can get myself out of this situation, and bam, you're done.
So that's another part of that first video we were talking about, when the guy's filming on the bridge. And he's filming, you see all like
the state trooper and the other
but you see the tree limbs and everything like that start hitting up against the bridge, and then there's more and more water coming, and then there's other debris that starts coming,
mud, it's everything.
And you see like these live living tree branches that just eventually just snap and go underneath that bridge. And it's like, it's not even just the speed of the water, it's like the force of the water. It's going to push, if something is stuck, it's going to push that through. And if it can't push it through, eventually whatever's holding it is going to break.
Yep. And us as volunteers, a lot of times we're in street clothes, or, we're going to go to the firehouse, throw our bunker gear on. Some of us do have ice rescue suits, dry suits, and all the other stuff. If you're trained, you can wear it. And you should be trained. Don't just throw these suits on because it's going to keep me dry. But you're going into murky floodwaters, whatever. You don't know what's in that water. Okay, and if you're going in there with shorts and flip-flops and everything else, and you get pierced with something in it, you're going to have infections and diseases, and leave it for trained professionals. Take courses, understand your risk before you do this stuff.
It's a funny story that my brother years ago, when he was younger, him and his friends, we used to hang out in this sand pit. It was right behind a mobile gas station. From what I understand, it used to be a gun range way back in the day. Then they built Route 111, and they couldn't obviously shoot that way anymore. And then it became like a concrete factory that closed down, and it was just the sand pit. Anyway, they were like puddle hopping one day. My brother hops puddle, loses his footing, and steps back into the puddle. There's a fucking railroad tie.
Oh yeah.
With the nail sticking up right through his foot, right through his shoe. And it's
so
like
many dangers.
Yeah, it's.
I know we don't think about it. You know, we're a response agency. We're there to rescue people. We're there to help people. And, you know, like I said, sometimes it's better just be a spotter or just look, you know, and I know it's tough, like we all want to do. But, you know, like I said, being in, you know, I'll give you a perfect example. My sister-in-law many years ago, she's very athletic. She's a gym, physical education teacher. But not only that, she's very into sports. Her son's into sports, everything else. She's walking by the front of a car, cuts her leg on the license plate, and wound up with like a flesh-eating disease.
Wow.
Because I guess previously she had hit a deer or an animal on the road, and I guess it was on the license plate.
Oh, wow.
And that was enough. Like, you know, I mean, stuff like that, you can wind up losing your leg.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're walking around sometimes in floodwaters with shorts on.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's such a double-edged sword because people in emergency, you know, that call us to rescue them in emergencies, like you said, we have our standard training. We go in there, we do what we can based on our knowledge and our training and our skills, but then there's also that side of it. Like,
well, we don't think about danger, and you know,
right? You can't really.
You know, you look at like 9/11. Every one of us would do the same thing we did on 9/11.
For sure.
We'd go running into those buildings. We'd do everything we can to try to save people's lives. Like that's what we're going to do. We're going to risk a lot to save a lot, and you know, it's like that with some of this. But there's time where you got to look at risk versus reward, and say, is this really worth it? Will that person still live? I mean, if they're in a car and it's floating down the street, it might just end up on the side of the road somewhere down the line. You know, like they're not always in danger that we think they're in danger. And while it's good, if the risk is too high, you got to really take a back seat. Hey, let's get a boat to them. Let's do this instead. So, you know, even going back to when I was a Boy Scout, right, with water rescue, we were always taught, reach first, then you throw, then you row, and then you actually go and swim out to them. Reach, throw, row, go. And it's the same idea. If we can reach out to them with a hook or a stick or, you know, something like that, or throw a rope or a life ring, you know, do all of that stuff first before we're going to go swim to them. And sometimes our reaction is swim to them. I mean, if they're floating downstream and they're drowning, that's a different story. Then it's a go rescue. We got to do what we got to do. If they cannot handle themselves, if I throw them a rope or a life ring and they can't handle, you got to go get them.
Right.
All right. But that's a specifically trained person that's meant to do that swiftwater rescue. So there's a lot of programs out there, whether it's state, county programs. There's a lot of private companies and industries that teach this stuff. Get yourself in a course, learn a little bit about water dynamics. You know, all of this stuff is so important. And don't put yourself into a situation that you can't get yourself out of.
Well, it's funny. Somebody commented the other day on one of our episodes. We were talking about I think it was with Devonsky. We were talking about the ebbs and flows of the fire service. So between hazmat, between tech rescue, now this water rescue stuff with this weather that we're getting. Somebody commented, like, it is great to have awareness level training in every one of those aspects.
Everybody should have awareness level in all tech rescue, my opinion.
I agree 100% with that. Like, if you're not going to go full bore into it, at least have awareness level training and at least incorporate it into your monthly drills. I mean, we talk about this, the fucking cars going into buildings. I feel like it's increasing.
I'm telling you.
There was like four the other day.
All the time.
And it's like that. You got to have some sort of awareness level training with
you
shoring.
Should really have, like I said, awareness level in all tech rescue programs, and water rescues included, machinery extrication, vehicle extrication, collapse, you know, trench, you name it. It's all there. But having a basic awareness to say, I shouldn't be doing this. Okay. And, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of communities that have never really had to deal with water rescue are now dealing with water rescue.
100%.
So, it's one of those things where it was never a concern. I don't need to train my guys in that. They're never going to deal with it. And now it's like, oh, now what do we do?
Who?
So, but I mean, you think about, what was it, a year ago when we saw the whole firehouse get washed away? Remember that one department?
Was it Tennessee?
Yeah, so, you
Something
saw
like
the
that?
rigs, Carolina, Tennessee, or Virginia, somewhere down there. But, you saw the whole rig just like floating and rolling down the river. Like this, it's going to happen. We're going to have more of it.
Yeah, I mean, even last year, that torrential rain that we had, I mean, over in Smithtown, I remember the next day we got a call for a water rescue. People had to be rescued at the second floor of their house. It's like, where the fuck? How? Like, where? But it was that torrential rain that broke, a 100-year-old dam.
You could have a water main go when you have a problem.
Right, but what I'm saying is that where those houses were located when that dam broke, all that water from Blydenburg flew
It all released
down, and these houses were on a smaller pond or lake, and that water just came up, and the people were getting rescued out of their top floors, and thankfully Smithtown recently got like one of the Zodiac boats that they can go and do those water rescues. And then there was,
but even that, you got to be careful with those. Do you put the motor on it? Do I not put the motor on it? Is it just a flood where I'm walking to get people out? Is it, there's so many factors that go along with this, and that's
for sure
where you take some of these programs, like if you take a legit rescue boat operator class, you learn all about navigating and what to look for, and how to pick people up out of the water, because it's not the easiest thing in the world. It's a lot. So, you got to be prepared for it. You can't just try to say, oh, yeah, we'll get them. It doesn't work that way. But, I mean, and I can go back many years, even within my own department. Our assistant chief at the time was on the radio screaming that he was on the roof of his car floating down 25A between Setauket and Stony Brook. And we were like, what the heck? And it was raining out, and we're like, it was literally like swiftwater rescues. There were cars stacked 3 high, wrapped around telephone poles.
wow.
But what happened was there's a huge lake on Stony Brook University property that backs right up to the railroad tracks. And I guess it built up all the way to the top, was spilling over the tracks. It eventually washed out underneath the tracks, and it all just released all the water. And it went flowing down 25A. And it was taking everything with it, cars, people. And, on top of that, the train was coming. So, notification, the tracks will literally, I have a picture somewhere with the tracks are just hanging in the air. There's nothing underneath it. It's just gone.
Jeez.
And, who would have thought we would have had a swiftwater event right there? And then what happens? The guys start driving the rigs through it.
Well, that's
ruin all the rigs.
Yeah, that's the other problem too.
And, you shouldn't be driving the rigs through water unless you have a high water vehicle. But, even one of our newer engines, they sucked up water into the air intake, into the diesel motor. And luckily our mechanic took it all apart and rebuilt it, and it's up and running.
Yeah, that happened recently. I think it was my old department. They had a rig that I think it was like rising waters somewhere, and it got into the engine.
Yep.
And it had to go through a whole rebuild.
And think about these rigs. These rigs are $1 million now.
I know.
Don't be driving $1 million rig through
Or
freaking
if
water.
you're one of those, departments that, needs to like raise money to get a rig, you really got to think about it at that point too.
But you can buy these used military vehicles and
Yes,
high
you
water
can.
things. They're out there. Some people donate them. Obviously there's upkeep. There's things, but they can drive through the water, and there's 6-wheel drive.
I saw that there's a video.
You still got to be careful though, because I was in one in Texas when we were down there for Harvey, and the guy drove it like off the side of the road. They have these troughs on the side of the road in Texas, and friggin' almost sunk. We almost rolled the thing.
Sheesh. And you got to worry about
You don't know where the roads are.
worry about brackish too,
Yep.
because you get all that salt water in there, so it's corroding shit.
Down there we had friggin' cow manure and cows floating. And
Yeah, I bet. What was the one? I just saw a video recently. I think it was from Australia. these guys drove like a straight up regular ass engine through. I mean, the water was above the windshield wipers, and these dudes drove through it and just kept going.
Yep.
I'm sure that truck was fucked up.
That's what happened to our rig in Sandy. They drove it right. They got caught.
How many trucks got banged up? Sandy.
A lot. Ours ran for a while, but everything started going. The siren went. All the electronics started going. The brakes were a problem. Everything was a problem.
Sandy was a wild one.
Yeah.
That I remember going. We got called down to Babylon in the middle of the night because half the town was underwater. And I remember going down Deer Park Avenue, and all the fucking lights were on, like nothing happened.
Oh yeah.
And then the minute we
look at the trains running in New York City last night, they had water coming into the trains, and the trains are still going through.
Oh yeah, well that's New York City. It's like
the electric,
it's whatever. Just get me to where I need to go.
Yeah, you just got to be careful. But I think awareness is very important in any program, and don't just take it once. If you have time, take it again. You're gonna pick stuff up. You're gonna learn stuff. You gotta.
Yeah.
But
Did you see today too? There was that water spout.
No, where was that?
Off Mattatuck, I think.
Really?
It was fucking huge too. Like a big water spout. So that's another thing.
That's like Florida. That's a tornado, basically.
Yeah.
Water spout's a tornado.
Yeah.
But it was interesting on the radio earlier when I was driving. The lady was saying on the radio, she's like, "I feel like I'm in Florida. The rain comes, then it goes away, the sun's out, it's humid, then the rain comes again."
Dude, even driving here today, I was on the northern state.
It's insane.
And it was raining, and I'm looking up. I'm like, "Where's the fucking cloud?"
Right.
Like I could see there was a cloud like
sideways.
off to the side, but like it wasn't over me. The way it was raining, how hard it was raining, I was like, "This makes zero sense as to how it's raining right now."
But you got to be careful, and bunker gear really is not the best thing for dealing with water situations at all. Even if it's just your pants, We
had a guy years ago. We had a bad rainstorm, and the golf course.
Landing?
No, Windwatch.
Oh, Windwatch.
They have those lakes in there.
Yeah.
And there's fish in those lakes, but it rained and the lakes overflowed and went into some of the houses that are around that course. And we get called for an electrical problem. And, we shut the power off or whatever. And the guys go down to the basement and the water's knee high. And this one guy, he wore someone else's gear. So we get back to the firehouse.
Sure, they were pissed.
And no, we were trying to get the boots off of them.
Oh, they were stuck on.
So we had one guy under each of his armpits holding onto his arms, and my chief is holding onto his boot, and it took a while for these boots to come. Yeah. He's screaming the whole time. A bunch of guys just standing around, like dying laughing. Like
leather boots, right?
Oh yeah,
swelling.
Yeah. They sucked right up, and eventually pulled them off, and you just see like the water shoot out everywhere because it was just sucked tight. It was so funny. But yeah, just those like certain things, can get crazy. But a water spout though,
it's insane. Yeah. I've seen them before, not up here though.
Yeah, I mean they had the water spout up here, and if you get that type of storm that rolls through, you could also get a tornado.
You can get whatever. And who knows, the way the weather's been lately, can happen tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
Just don't know. Got to be careful. But, the weather in general, we'll talk about that again. The heat, you got to stay hydrated, get yourself checked out. Actually, last week, we got new monitors for our ambulances, so I went to the training. Did I talk about this last week?
You told me about this, but I don't think you told
everybody. So we got the new Life Pack 35s, and they got these things you set up to it. You can change the rhythms and stuff, I'm like, take my blood pressure, 146 over 102. They're like, you feeling all right? I'm like, I think so. I try the other arm, So it's like 140 over 93. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. Not a good day. So I went home, had my wife do my blood pressure, 120 over 80. I'm like, I'm good. But I made an appointment to see, this guy, Rob Brown. He was former city lieutenant. It's called, New York Heart and Lung. They do a phenomenal job. but he's a PA. He's got a lot of guys working for him. All the firemen go there. He's caught so many people, with blockages that needed stents and everything else. And it's very important to keep up on your health and do stuff like that. So I went Friday, had a full thing. They actually do sonograms of your neck.
I was literally just going to say that.
They do your legs. They do your heart.
Yep.
They do,
the
EKGs, blood pressure.
There's a guy in my department that did the sonogram. Somebody must have came to the district and offered it. And the district said, okay, we're going to take that. Any member 40 years of age or older, mandatory that you take this.
And your insurance will pick up a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, the insurance picked it up.
Go do it.
So they did the heart scan, they scanned the arteries, carotid, and everything like that. And the sonogram tech, sees a lump and just says to the guy, she's not too sure what that is.
Yeah,
she's
but you should get it looked at.
Get it looked at. It was cancer. At the very beginning stage.
That's great.
And they fucking caught it, got rid of it, and he's been fine.
Yep.
But I got it too. I got the scan, and granted at the time I was, I think, 18. But I was allowed to, it was 40 and up mandatory. If you're under 40 years of age, you could take it if you want to. Right. I took it just to take it. But yeah, for sure, get checked out because there is a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, I went years ago. I hadn't gone in a while. I went right before COVID, actually. And then, COVID, everything got crazy, so I hadn't been back. But, even when I went back then and they were doing some of the sonograms, they're like, your gallbladder looks a little enlarged. Maybe you should go get it checked out. So I went and had a, whole thing done up and, it turned out to be nothing. But, at least it's like, oh, we saw something, go take care of this, So, your health is very important. You got to stay up to, like I said, you got to hydrate. You got to stay in shape. This is a job that can kill you very easily. You got to be prepared. So, any chance you get to go get checked out, I'll probably do a full body scan again. I'm ready. Got to do colonoscopy. I got to go endoscope. I got to do a little everything.
Well, good thing the colonoscopies aren't what they used to be.
Yeah, but they're a lot of fun. But it's very important to keep up on your health and, make sure that you're okay. But, look out for each other. Today was a hot day. Like I said, we had a little kind of small little incident today, but, we were all soaked down to our underwear. We had EMS doing blood pressures when we came out, making sure everybody had water. Don't overlook that stuff. Take care of each other.
Well, on that note.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow. Holy cow. We've been doing this an hour already?
Yeah.
Jesus. Well, all right. We'll talk about more stuff, but as we go.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is episode
25.
Out. We will catch you guys next week.
Close out.